to this channel. My name is Prashant and today I will be talking about Polkadot blockchain. Before talking about what exactly is Polkadot, we would be discussing first that why Polkadot is required or why this new blockchain is required. Because if there's a new technology which is coming up, there must be something which this new technology is trying to solve. There must be some issues in the existing ecosystem which the new technology would be solving. And the same thing is happening with this Polkadot blockchain, which is the new blockchain which is coming up. And what kind of problem it is solving? Let's understand that. Let's suppose there are three different websites. One website talks about tourism destinations or tourist destinations. There's a second website which talks about weather forecast. There's a third website which talks about maps. Talking about the very first tourist website, now whenever you click a destination, you want to know about the weather forecast, you want to know about the map. Now, if the three different websites are not connected to each other, then the very first thing would be that the customer has to go to three different websites to access the information. And this is not something which is adding value to the experience. Second thing which would happen is that if you're trying to add the features of a dedicated website of three dedicated websites into one, then you cannot add all the features. And this will not give the experience which a customer wants. So what is the solution? The solution is that when you can access different features of the different websites from a single website also. And this is what is happening in the centralized websites or in the centralized servers. But this is not happening in the blockchain. And if you talk about blockchains, every blockchain is operating individually and they are least bothered about what is happening in another blockchain. Let's suppose A blockchain has a different consensus mechanism. A blockchain has different coins. B blockchain has different consensus mechanism. D blockchain has a different coins, and same applies to all the other blockchains. And they are operating in their own silos. So what is the solution? So when can we add value to the customer who are accessing the blockchains? It will only happen when the blockchains could interact with each other. Because this is when the user will find a wholesome experience. And this is the problem which Polkadot blockchain is trying to resolve. So now let's talk about Polkadot blockchain. What exactly is Polkadot blockchain? What is the structure of Polkadot blockchain? Now, the thing which this blockchain is trying to resolve is interoperability. What it is the interaction between different blockchains. So all those blockchains which would be deployed on the Polkadot ecosystem are called as parachains. Now, this is the name for all the blockchains which would be present on the Polkadot ecosystem. Now, the next thing which we want is a connecting link between all the parachains, and that is called as relay chain. Now, this relay chain is the connecting link between all the parachains. Apart from that, it's taking care of the security, it is taking care of the consensus, and all the important things are taken care by the relay chain. Now, let's understand in more detail what exactly is the structure of a parachain. Now, when we say that parachain is a blockchain, it could be a blockchain, it could be other things also. But if we talk about blockchain, then in a blockchain, there are certain nodes, and these nodes of a particular parachain is called as collators. But the nodes of the relay chain are called validators. Now, validators are the ones who are taking care of the blocks which would be added to the relay chain. But collators would be taking care of the blocks which would be added on the parachains. So they would be taking care of the parachains, the validators would be taking care of the relay chain. So there is an interaction between validators and the collectors. So there is another smaller version of parachains that are called as parathreads. Parathreads have lesser number of collectors and validators as compared to parachain. Parathreads has been specifically designed for the task which does not require continuous interactions with the relay chain, or which does not require continuous allocation of blocks. So a different type of slot has been booked for these kind of tasks which does not require continuous interaction with the relay chain, and these are called as para threads. So let's come back to the topic. The main topic is about interaction. How does interaction happens inside the Polkadot ecosystem? So there are three different types of communication which is happening. The first communication is happening vertically. The vertical communication is happening between a parachain and a relay chain, where in one instance the message is passed from a parachain to a relay chain, and another instances when a message is passed from a relay chain to a parachain. So this is one type of communication. The another type of important communication which is happening, this important communication is happening between the parachain. So now this communication or interaction is happening with the help of XCMP, that is cross-chain message passing. Now again, there are two different channels between the parachains, and very important role is played by the collectors here. Now the two channels which I am talking about is, first channel is when you are sending a message, and the second channel is about receiving. So there are two different channels, and all the communication is happening through these channels. Now talking about the third communication, the third communication is happening between a parachain and a blockchain that is outside Polkadot's ecosystem, and that is happening with the help of bridges. So now all the interaction, different type of interactions are resolved with this kind of Polkadot ecosystem. Now, who is behind, what is the mind, whose mind is behind this whole Polkadot ecosystem is a very renowned name that is called as Gavin Woods. And who is Gavin Wood? Gavin Wood is the co-founder of Ethereum and the one who has designed the Solidity language. So this whole ecosystem is coming from a person who has an experience, who has the intelligence to take this thing to a next level. So we can very much be confident about the success of this Polkadot ecosystem. So now let's talk about other important aspects of Polkadot ecosystem. Now, the whole Polkadot blockchain has been designed with the help of Substrate, and Substrate itself is programmed on the programming language of Rust. So when different parachains are designed on Substrate, it becomes much easier to interact with each other. So that is why if a parachain or the blockchain is made on with the help of a substrate, it would be easier, the transaction time would be much easier between the two parachains, or the communication or the interaction between the Polkadot environment would be much more easier. Initially 100 slots would be launched. Now what after 100 slots? Because 100 slots means 100 parachains. What after 100 parachains? How would this be? This would be scaled up. This would be scaled up that either of the parachain, one of the parachain would be acting as a relay chain, and again that relay chain would be acting as a main chain for other parachains. So it would be a relay chain, parachain, one parachain as a relay chain, and that thing would continue to go on. So this is how the scaling of this Polkadot would be done in the future. So this is a very important aspect. Moreover, apart from the validators and collectors, there are two important players of the ecosystem: Nominators and Fishermen. Nominators are the one who actually select the validators. And what about fishermen? Fishermen are the ones who will be taking care of any mischievous activities that are performed in the ecosystem, and they would be rewarded heavily for that. So they would be taking care of the mischievous activities, and they would be in touch with the collectors and validators. So they play an important role in this ecosystem. Regarding the consensus mechanism. Now the consensus mechanism, it has two consensus mechanisms. The first is grandpa and second is babe. If one doesn't work, then the second would work. If the second would work, the first one would work. So the last question is, how do exactly we buy a parachain slot or a parathread slot? So that is done by two procedures. The very first procedure is through auctions, and the second procedure is crowd loan. Now let's talk about the auction process. Now the auction process is a very intelligent process. Here in this auction is different from the auctions which we see. In this auction, the lease period for which a parachain is offered is for 3 months lease period for 2 years. So every lease period is of 3 months, and the total period which a parachain would be auctioned, that would be for 2 years. Many people can apply for the auction, and there could be more than one winner also, because it would be dependent upon the total dots staked. Now, what it is a dot? Dot is the native currency of the Polkadot environment. How would winner be decided? A winner would be decided on the basis of the total amount of dots staked. Now, let's suppose if there is a person who is bidding for two lease period, at least for 6 months, for two lease period, and he's bidding for 50 dots, let's suppose. So two periods, it would be 15 to 200 dots staked. But if there is another person who is bidding for 25 dots, but for 4 or 5 different lease periods, so the total number of staked would be more for the other person rather than the former one. So it would be dependent upon the total amount of the dot staked. So what exactly is crowd loan? Even if you don't have the money, if you have a big idea, you can pitch your big idea in front of the people, and people would be staking their dots against your big idea. And you can have a mutual consent that after the particular period, you would be giving this much reward to the people who have staked their dot. So it is just an opportunity cost which Polkadot ecosystem is asking you to put, and it is not something which they are taking, it is just about staking. So this was a small introduction, a brief introduction about Polkadot ecosystem or Polkadot blockchain. I hope I was able to convey what exactly is Polkadot blockchain and what exactly Polkadot blockchain is trying to resolve with this new blockchain. So thanks again. Thank you very much.